It can be really difficult to accept how much damage the narcissist caused you on several different levels, whether it be emotionally, whether it be in terms of damaging your ability to trust people, um, potentially your physical health as well as your mental health, and possibly even they could have ruined your finances in pushing you away from the people who are close to you. So if you've been in a long-term relationship with a narcissist, you can find yourself being damaged and compromised on all those levels because you placed your trust in somebody who you thought had your best interest at heart, but actually they they were really out there to push you away from everything that was good for you, everything that was healthy for you, and little by little chipping away at all of that. And where possible, they were doing it for personal gain and personal interest. And they would have gotten supply from knowing that they felt superior to you, better than you, each step along the way that they were taking you down. So all of that sounds awful, sounds terrible because it is. The fact that somebody can do that to you or anyone, it's not really something that you can really even fathom. It's just it's a lesson that can be so frustrating, um, partly because it happened and partly because so many people don't understand unless they've been through something similar. And you can either ruminate over that for a long time to come or the rest of your life, or you can kind of accept it for what it is and just bounce out of it. Because whilst the narcissist would have caused you a lot of hurt and damage and on many different fronts, at the same time, that kind of experience provides you with a lot of clarity. It provides you with a lot of clarity about those things about yourself that may not have been healthy. For example, placing your trust in predators, being able to identify predators. Um, you'll certainly be more careful going forwards, hopefully. So that's a clear piece of clarity that hopefully you'll take on board. Um, just all those potential lack of boundaries that in hindsight you would notice in yourself, how the narcissist would have pushed up against your boundaries and you would have let them do that. Maybe because you needed their attention, validation, maybe they were helping you financially and you felt it was worthwhile. But doesn't that experience teach you the importance now in hindsight of not letting people push past your boundaries? It should. Um, Another piece of clarity that you might have gotten, again, it's hard to see this if you're in heavy rumination, but the moment the rumination subsides, you can start to see these glimpses of clarity that are actually good for you. Is what do you kind of want in a partner? It could have been the case that you were expecting some form of Prince Charming, these Disney type movies, type characters, people who just sweep you off your feet, pump you up, love bomb you intensely for a few weeks, days, maybe months, so that they so that they can then just have their way with you. But now you know that's not healthy. That's not a healthy form of a relationship. If you want somebody to give you that intense adrenaline rush at the beginning, that might be enjoyable for the short term, but that's certainly not healthy for the long term. So you should definitely question what kind of person you want to be with going forwards and what kind of person is healthy for you. Because maybe you would have had unrealistic expectations about what a good relationship was. And so on and so on. The point is, on the one hand, the narcissist could have damaged you on basically every front you can imagine. But at the same time, if you can kind of get past that, assuming they're out of your life and you're still, you're still breathing, you're still alive, you're still walking, then it's not, everything isn't lost. you can still have your dignity back. You can still have a life of well-being back where you can feel good about yourself. And the best thing that you can do kind of immediately is to recognize those points of clarity and take that on board and think, wow, the most difficult life experiences are in fact the most difficult life experiences. Yes, they hurt the most, but they're also the most enlightening of experiences. And recognize the part that you played in it. Yes, they used you. They abused you. They hurt you. They deceived you. They lied to you. But there was also some element of self-deception in there. Maybe you wanted something that was a bit too good to be true. You wanted someone who would make you feel so good about yourself because maybe you were lacking in the self-confidence, self-worth arena before they came in. Oftentimes we attract very toxic people into our lives as a form for them to overcompensate for our own shortcomings. If we're lacking severely in self-confidence, we're lacking in self-approval in certain areas. Somebody gives that to you in abundance. All of a sudden you're hooked. But that's because they noticed that in you. And they played it against you. They played you against you so that they could then entrap you. So when you go through an experience like that with a narcissist, the next step, it really, what that looks like, what that next step looks like really comes down to you. You can make that whatever you want it to be. Yes, most likely you're going to ruminate for some time afterwards. Certainly for months, maybe years. It's going to have some impact. My kind of rule of thumb is, and I know this from personal experience, the first 6 months after you've tried to get the narcissist out of your life, someone who deceived you, who you were, let's say, addicted to, dependent on deeply, the first 6 months or thereabouts, it really is like getting over heavy addiction. You kind of do feel consumed by it. Between the 6 months and 12 months, you see lots of glimmers of hope, and there's lots of moments where you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but there's still a lot of heaviness during that period. And from a year onwards, what that looks like really comes down to your mindset and how you approach it. Because then it can take whatever direction you feed, and feed the experience and your perception of that in such a way that's healthy and constructive for you going forwards. And attach yourself to people, thoughts, whatever that kind of you feel support you in that kind of healthy way. Get out of the blame mentality, get out of the victimhood mentality, and just see yourself as somebody who overcame something that was potentially one of the biggest challenges you'll face in your life. But we all face challenges, and life is not without challenges. It's how you bounce off of them. That's what matters.